There are a lot of ways to improve your vocabulary and grammar and become a more fluent English speaker. Here's one of them, and let me tell you, it's probably the most fun I've had with language learning in years. Hey, my fellow English learner! You're watching Fluent English with Lady Giraffe. I'm Olga, and today I'm gonna tell you how, in 5 simple steps, you can boost your vocabulary and grammar, how you can use your new words and grammar structures to improve your speaking skills in English. And at the end, I'm gonna show you exactly how I work on TV shows. Step number 1. Find a suitable TV show. If your goal is to speak more naturally and fluently in English, modern TV shows, especially sitcoms, are the best. They're usually pretty short, like 20 minutes per episode, with fast paced dialogues and lots of really fun expressions and cultural references. Cartoons are also a great option, especially if your vocabulary and grammar are not quite there yet. I'd recommend checking out something like Friends, Parks and Recreation, Futurama, or The Good Place. All are fantastic TV shows. Step number 2. Watch an episode of your chosen TV show for fun first. Focus on what's happening in the episode, not anything language related. Also, if you can watch it without captions first, that's additional practice for your listening skills, which is always a plus. Step number 3. Watch the same episode with the captions and write down anything interesting. It can be a useful grammar structure or a new word or expression. Always write down your words in context. It can be a single sentence, a few sentences in a row, or even a small dialogue. If the show you're watching doesn't have captions, you can use something like subs like script to read the full script of the episode. If you don't have access to any TV shows, watch and analyze clips from different shows on YouTube. There are a lot of them there. Like, there is a whole channel dedicated to clips from Parks and Recreation, for example. I recently finished working on all 52 episodes of a cartoon dubbed in Greek, the language I'm currently actively learning. What I would do, I'd sit down, watch one episode with captions, and pause the screen every time I see a new word. I'd write down the sentence or a couple of sentences containing this word and move on to the next bit. After writing all the sentences down comes step number 4. Look up the new words and expressions in the dictionary and write the translations, explanations, and synonyms right beside the new vocabulary. That's why I always leave a lot of space between my sentences. You can have a lot of fun with your notes, like you can use colorful pens, for example. For me, my notes being pretty is not the priority. This is probably the most time-consuming step from the whole process. But if you're a dictionary geek like I am, then you'll have a lot of fun discovering so many new things. Step number 5. Watch the episode again. This time, enjoy watching it with this newly found understanding of vocabulary, grammar, and maybe a cultural reference or two. So, now that you have your notes, let's talk about what you can do with them to improve your speaking skills. First of all, improving your vocabulary and grammar by itself is a great way of becoming more fluent when you're speaking in English. So there's that. You can also read the sentences out loud, focusing on intonation or any sounds you find difficult to pronounce. You can do shadowing with your notes, listening to the way the actor says the lines, and then repeating them after them. or literally shadowing them, saying the same lines at the same time. You can enrich your spoken language with idiomatic expressions and phrasal verbs found in the show you're working on. I created flashcards with useful spoken expressions from the Greek cartoon I mentioned earlier, with the translation on one side and the expression in context on the other. It worked wonderfully for my active vocabulary. While writing down sentences, don't ignore grammar structures you find interesting and think you can use in the future. Learning these structures and incorporating them in your speaking is something that will make you more fluent. Do you want this whole process to be even more useful and fun? Find a study buddy to discuss the show with. You can talk about new vocabulary and grammar and everything that is happening with the characters. I watched a few seasons of Parks and Recreation in this way, and it was a wonderful learning experience. Now, I'm gonna walk you through the analysis of the first few minutes of the pilot episode of The Good Place. I've already watched the episode and it was around 20 minutes long. I don't have captions in my version, so I'm opening Subs Like Script to find the pilot. Here we are. The first thing that sticks out to me is come on in. I know come on and come in, but what's come on in? Let's add this phrase to a Google Doc. Google Docs are my second favorite place to keep my notes after paper notebooks. I can add all the expressions to this document first and then look them up, or I can look them up as I go. Let's go with the second option. There is a fascinating discussion on the use of come on in among native speakers here. It's a more polite and encouraging version of come in, and it's probably more common in American English. Sometimes it's more useful to search for an expression in Google, not just in a dictionary. I'm reading and scrolling now, trying to find something interesting. Here, I like this sentence. And when you bend down to pick it up, a long column of shopping carts that were being returned to the shopping cart collection area rolled out of control and plowed right into you. I had no idea that many shopping carts together are called a column. Plow is something worth looking up. Right, it's the American spelling and it's a verb. To crash into something or someone, especially while driving, because you're unable to stop quickly enough. Perfect. And I hope you learned a little bit from a couple of sentences. Imagine how much awesome content you can find in a whole episode of a TV show. You're learning in context. You're learning from something you like. And best of all, you're learning something you chose to learn. Do you enjoy learning English through TV shows? Tell me in the comments. If you're not entirely sure how to look up things in the dictionary in the most effective way possible, check out this video next. Thank you so much for watching and see you next time with more awesome language content.